Since I was really young, there's just been this thing about my sexuality, and people have been talking about it for so long, man.
Recently, Shawn Mendes opened up about his sexuality, shocking the whole world in the process. You see, the singer has had a difficult time revealing the fact that he was attracted to other men. This news is quite surprising given the fact that he has dated several women in the past. But why is Mendes just revealing this fact now? It all started with a teenage boy from Pickering, Ontario, playing his guitar in his bedroom. Shawn Mendes wasn't aiming for superstardom when he began uploading 6-second covers to Vine in 2013. He just loved music.
Gave my time for 2 or 3 nights and I put her on pause. Hello from the other side. I belong with you, you belong with me, you're my sweetheart.
But those short clips would attract millions of people, and before he knew it, he was signing record deals and performing in front of screaming crowds. By the time his debut album Handwritten debuted in 2015, Mendes was already a sensation. His voice and charm made him an instant hit, especially among young girls who saw him as the perfect Prince Charming. Every song he released seemed to climb the charts, and with tracks like Stitches and Treat You Better, Mendes became one of the youngest artists to dominate pop music globally. But as his career grew, so did the expectations. The media latched on to his romantic image. He was the dream guy, the one you could bring home to meet your parents. This became part of who people thought he was, and for a while, Mendes played along. He smiled for the cameras, kept his public image polished, and didn't rock the boat. Behind the scenes, though, things weren't so simple. Mendes was navigating the challenges of growing up under a microscope. His songs often touched on universal themes of love and heartbreak. But the question people really wanted answered was, who was Shawn Mendes, and who was he singing about? Shawn Mendes kept growing under the spotlight. But with that fame came relentless scrutiny. People analyzed every interview, every social media post, and every lyric. And when he wasn't providing enough details, people filled in the gaps themselves. You see, they were particularly drawn to his sexuality more than anything else. Fans and tabloids alike seemed obsessed with figuring out whether he was gay, straight, or something in between. It got to a point that it was so annoying, and Mendes knew about it. He admitted it made him angry, not just for himself, but for others dealing with the same questions.
I was going down the comments and noticed a lot of people were saying that I give them a gay vibe. First of all, I'm not gay. Now, I'm not frustrated because people were saying that I was gay at all. I have no problem with that because it wouldn't make a difference to me. I'm frustrated because in this day and age, people have the audacity to write online that I'm gay as if it were a bad thing.
Mendes would say in an interview that he felt like people were trying to force him to define something he didn't even fully understand yet. Adding to the rumors were his close friendships with men, which only fueled speculation. Mendes has always been open about the importance of his male friendships, but the public didn't see it that way. Instead of just being the guy with a solid friend group, people started to question what it meant. On top of that, his relationship with Camila Cabello didn't silence the chatter. If anything, it added another layer to the conversation. Their relationship was analyzed endlessly, and when it ended, people took it as more evidence that Mendes wasn't being honest about who he was.
And Camila, in a lot of ways, became a big protector for me. And it wasn't until a month after, we broke up and things were starting to kind of get clear for me again, that I started to see, oh, okay, now I gotta be the one to stand here and take on these things, and I might not have someone to fall back on.
Mendes, however, wasn't ready to play into anyone's narrative, torturing the females and, of course, the gays. Moving through his 20s, Shawn's approach to fame started to change. The relentless scrutiny of his personal life, particularly around his sexuality, became harder to ignore. For years, he had felt boxed in by the image that had been created for him, the charming boy next door who could do no wrong. But as he matured, he started to question why he needed to play along with that image at all. Mendes began opening up about his struggles, sharing that the constant speculation about his sexuality had been deeply hurtful. "Since I was young, people have been talking about it," he told fans during a concert in Colorado. "It always felt like an intrusion, something personal I was still figuring out, and yet everyone had an opinion about it." Mendes admitted he hadn't had the chance to fully explore who he was. The demands of his career had taken over his teenage years, leaving little time for self-discovery. "The truth is that I didn't get to do a lot of 15-year-old things and discover parts of myself that you do at 15, he said. Instead, he was on the road, performing for thousands, while quietly struggling with questions about his identity. What stood out was how Mendes chose to address these questions. He didn't rush to give the world a definitive answer, even though it seemed like that's what everyone wanted. Sorry guys, patience is a virtue. He would later reveal that he was just figuring things out like everyone else. According to Mendes, some days he feels one way and other days he feels different. It's scary because the world has so much to say about it, but he's trying to let himself just feel and be human. This honesty gave Mendes a huge emotional boost. He wasn't the polished pop star anymore. He was a young man working through life in real time, with millions watching. Songs like In My Blood and Wonder became outlets for his emotions. They touched on everything from anxiety and self-doubt to the struggle of living up to expectations. His unreleased song, The Mountain, which he performed during that same Colorado concert, captured this journey perfectly. Lyrics like,
"Say I'm too young, you can. Say I'm too old, you can. Say I like girls or boys, whatever fits your mold, oh you can."
felt like a direct response to the years of speculation. But rather than using it as a declaration, Mendes presented it as an open question. We know the gay fans went bananas over this, for lack of a better word. What made this period even more important was how Mendes started letting go of the need to please everyone. He began to realize he didn't have to fit into the cookie-cutter version of himself that fame had created. If people wanted to speculate, that was their problem, not his. Mendes also spoke about the pressure of labels and how they often fail to capture the complexity of a person's identity.
I think it's kind of silly because I think sexuality is such a beautifully complex thing, and it's so hard to just put into boxes.
But by now, I think we all know what that really means, and some of us are heartbroken. Ahem, the ladies. And well, the gay fans, not so much. As Shawn Mendes began to embrace the unknown parts of himself, his career took on a more personal tone. He no longer seemed preoccupied with meeting the expectations of a flawless pop star. Instead, he leaned into the messiness of being a human. In interviews and on stage, Mendes became more transparent about his journey, sharing his struggles with mental health, self-identity, and the constant pressure to be perfect. He said he was really trying to be brave and allow himself to be a human, reflecting on how fame had, for years, made him feel like he couldn't. His openness resonated with fans, many of whom saw their own struggles mirrored in his words and music. Mendes spoke about how liberating it felt to let go of the need to define himself for the world. "The real truth is, I don't always know," he admitted, "and that's okay. I'm learning to live in that uncertainty." His recent albums showcase his shift. His songs, including Wonder and It'll Be Okay, feel more introspective than anything Mendes has released before. They talk about things like vulnerability, self-doubt, and the pain of letting go. While some fans speculated these songs were about his breakup with Camila Cabello, they also seem to hint at something deeper, a reckoning with his own sense of identity. Mendes didn't shy away from addressing the speculation that had followed him for years. He acknowledged that, while it was hurtful at times, it also pushed him to confront questions he might have otherwise avoided. "I've thought a lot about what people say and what they assume," he shared. "But at the end of the day, I'm just trying to be honest with myself. That's all I can do." He also became a visible ally for the LGBTQ+ community, advocating for self-love and acceptance. Mendes often used his platform to support others on their journeys, encouraging people to embrace their true selves without fear of judgment. While he stopped short of labeling himself, his words and actions spoke volumes. The singer revealed that sexuality isn't something you figure out overnight. It's a process, and it's different for everyone. Even in his friendships, Mendes seemed more at ease. He remained close with his group of male friends, unapologetically sharing moments of affection and support. While the public may have scrutinized these relationships, Mendes made it clear he wasn't living for their approval anymore. To be honest, his music has even become more beautiful because it comes from a place many people have hidden because of public opinion. The boy who once wrote love songs for the masses is now writing songs for himself. This chapter of Mendes' life isn't about having all the answers. It's about asking the questions. And for someone who has spent so much of his life in the public eye, that's a bold and necessary step forward. We are all cheering for you, Shawn. You will continue to be the guy next door that every girl or boy fantasize about. Hey, let's not forget about the cougars too. If you enjoyed the video, hit like, subscribe to this channel, and turn on the notification bell for more insane videos like this.